A very good afternoon to everyone present. Today is a new day for the government, for the citizens of Castor, and for the world. As you may know, Castor was recently hit with the novel Improbatus Falcium 31 or IMPF 31 virus, which prompted the declaration of a pandemic across the country. Unfortunately, this virus had cost President Adrian Harris his life. In addition to that, Castor is still recovering from the devastating natural disaster that took place in 2029. Therefore, under the new government of President Ryan Shah, we hope to work towards curbing the spread of IMTF 31 as well as reviving the economy of Castor over time. Strategies that could be utilized to contain the virus IMPF 31. We came to a conclusion that the best decision is one labeled as delay and vaccinate. Through this strategy, it would take a longer time for the virus to be contained, hence the name delay. But at the end of the day, there is a less likely chance of a second pandemic breaking out because efforts would have been made to research and develop a vaccine. By delaying the containment of the virus, we have no choice but to implement a movement control order, which would be complete with standard operating procedures or SOPs, such as physical distancing, mandatory masks, and the closure of schools and businesses, with the exception of boarding schools and essential businesses. The research and development process of the vaccine will, however, require funding. This is where we will implement measures to counter this social. Firstly, the government has strategized a plan to provide jobs for those in rural areas. This involves urging overseas manufacturers to build factories on Castor soil, more specifically, nearby the rural settlements in order to reduce transportation costs. As you can see, potential areas for manufacturers to build factories As you can see, potential areas for manufacturers to build factories have been highlighted on the map. This will increase the money flowing into the country and henceforth strengthen the economy in the long run. Over time, those living in rural areas will also gain enough money to gradually improve their living conditions. Other than that, efforts will also be made to open up more job opportunities in the extraction industry, such as agriculture, in order to put Castor's natural resources to better use. Some of the natural resources of Castor can be seen on this map. All these jobs mentioned require unskilled labor and will be targeted to those living in rural settlements across the country. This plan will be put in place to reduce the effects of the drug war, taking into account that the citizens are abusing drugs as a means of escapism from their lives in poverty. A similar strategy can also be implemented with the issue of overcrowded jails. Instead of putting all the criminals in jail, we can some of them can be given community work, such as manufacturing, military equipment, or construction and cleaning jobs with slightly lower pay. This means that convicts will be productive even during their time of incarceration. It also reduces the labor cost of fixing the effects of earthquakes in cities. However, it is important to note that the ownership of prisons will be handed off to private corporations as they are more financially able to support the management and maintenance of the prison. In doing so, these corporations will also benefit as the government will pay for each unoccupied bed in the prison. In terms of overpopulation, the government has decided to allocate a part of the national budget to the building of nursing homes for the elderly, as well as orphanages and care homes for children from poor families. This counters the abundance of old people and children left behind by the low mortality rate and high birth rate of citizens. We will also be introducing family planning in the secondary school syllabus. Aside from that, the government is also looking into the implementation of a two-child policy should the situation not improve. As for illegal immigrants, the government has decided that it would be best not to integrate them into society. The unknown health backgrounds of these immigrants could be fatal towards our people and cause another virus outbreak. We must tighten international border control to keep out any unwanted visitors for the safety and well-being of our people. The government plans to detain them and give them more high-risk work in areas such as fixing the nuclear power plant, which has been damaged by the earthquake, as you can see on this map now. This area will be suspected to have more radiation. Furthermore, the government will not be making any effort to send these illegal immigrants back to their home country. Instead, they must work in order to earn enough money and either buy their ticket home or cover the cost of preparing themselves to integrate into Kasa society, which would include health checks and paying for an identification card. Once again, the country gains more low-cost labor to repair an effect of the earthquake. The power plant also just so happens to contribute to roughly 1/10 of the country's revenue. The tourism sector has also been affected by the pandemic. At this time, we are not receiving many tourists as we try to stop the virus from spreading outside of Castor and potentially causing a global catastrophe, as we've seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. This will hopefully elevate our image in the eyes of other countries, especially for us as Castor is a post-isolationist country. Moving on to territorial segregation, the government plans to offer Dargan a plot of land for them to develop. This acts as an incentive for Dargan to stay in Castor. Um, the land highlighted on the map is the land that could potentially be offered to Dargan. We also plan to devise a national financial plan for taxpayer money. This is also so that the citizens, not only in Dargan but all of Castor, will be well aware of how the government plans to use this money to improve the community and develop the country. Through this, we hope that Dargan will reconsider separating from Castor, as we would not want the inhabitants of this island to be divided by an international border. Lastly, as for post-isolation, we hope to improve relations once our economy is back up and running. This will be done by holding diplomatic visits to other countries and engaging in international trade. We plan to export our nuclear energy source to other countries once our nuclear power plant has been revived in hopes of encouraging technological advancement as an effort to improve foreign relations. As the pandemic soon subsides or a vaccine is discovered, we also plan to open more tourism in mountainous areas in order to increase urbanization and create more jobs for future generations. This could include mountain guides for hiking and mountain climbing. It is hoped that these policies will prove effective in improving the economy for the betterment of the country, and it is hoped that all parties will be able to give their utmost cooperation in ensuring that this effort is successful. Now we will be accepting some questions from the viewers.
Why? Macam nak jawab why? Tak ada tanya why. I'm sorry. What do you mean by why is about the illegal immigrants? Macam mana? Tak, saya why? I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean. Can you please elaborate what are you trying to ask? You think it's what you think is inhumane for the public to? What you think the putting illegal immigrants to a high risk nuclear factory would put you in this? It's a bit inhumane. Sekejap, jawab kan, saya tak ingat. Oh, okay. So, uh, about about the virus, about stopping the virus, we can estimate. I'm sorry, but we can estimate about when the virus will be stopped. As in 10 years later, new problems may arise. So yes, we have a lot of solutions for our pre-existing problems right now. And as you can see from the solution, I'm pretty sure the virus research will be going up. But the cost of the research is very costly. That I think even in 10 years time, it will still not be enough. It still won't enough for the virus to be cured. The only the only thing that the only thing that may happen after in the year 2040, the virus may die out since it's been already 10 years. And if our student follows our rules, what our MCO, our SOP, then of course this virus will be lessened. It won't be completely eradicated. So this precaution will continue as years goes on. Does that answer your question? How to control the so in order for you using Merit Financial. So if you want, as we said earlier, you can control the virus by putting down rules. So rules as we can say earlier, MCO and SOP. And also we are thinking of actually putting national borders in the state itself. Like for example, as you can see from the map earlier. Sekejap, boleh check. Sekejap. Ya, ada sini. The customer.
Just the first one, but tak payah tekan apa-apa.
As you can see from the map here, that you can see the place are kind of divided by certain place like Dagon, and then there's like rural settlement, and you can see there's the cities all around the castle. So we're thinking of putting borders all borders between cities, so that if the virus ever happen as an example, if the virus ever happens in Dagon, the other places can still move on easily, and Dagon will, and we have to put a more and we should tighten the quarantine and the SOP at the Dagon, and use the normal SOP and MCO at other places. So that's how you reduce the cost. That's how you reduce the cost on certain places. So our can you propose an economic plan even though the pandemic still exists? So one of our economic plan is by giving one of our economic plan is by making by building factories in our land. Yes. So one way of us making to increase our economy, even though the pandemic is still exists, as we said from earlier, we are going to put factory outside neighboring countries can build factories on our land. So from this, we can so. Terus saja. Even though the pandemic still exists. The economic plan tu macam way financial. Nak cakap lagi ke? Ah? Oh, saya cakap. Ah?
Can you propose an economic plan even though the pandemic still exists? The answer is that although the pandemic still exists, we will try our best to propose this economic plan because we realize that without the reviving of our economy, our country might collapse, as well as because we are lacking in the financial areas, and without any money or without economic strength, we are not really able to improve anything in our country, or that's to say get any work done, because in this modern day and age, we realize that almost everything requires funding and financial security. That's why we are forced to make this tough decision, which is to carry on and continue to move our economy even during this pandemic. Thank you.
Oh, situ je. Ah, ni semua solusi. Ni semua solusi. So now, so basically, how do we solution it? We are putting we are settling our goals on Caster by settling the goals on Caster by like with SOP and SOP, and the problem, and also we are putting on research on this virus, as we can't depend on on other countries, as this virus only happens inside our country. So because of that, we are putting financial plans such as putting illegal immigrants to high risk job, and putting factories on the, and making other countries build factories on our land, so that our financial increase. And and also we put and for our jail, since it is overcrowded, we make some of we put some of the from the prisoners to go for workforce, so that to go for workforce such as making clothes, or making vessels for militaries and all. So this is our plan here is basically getting having a financial having a stable finance to put more research on this virus, so that we can make a vaccine about it. Okay. So do you think the citizens play an important part in this situation? Yes. The only way for a country to even maju, to even rise up, is by its citizens. Without its citizen, there's no way without its citizen cooperation, there's no way the IMPF 31 there's no way IMPF 31 can be stopped. And if even if they think even if they did it and they think it of something light, then the time taken for the virus to be stopped will be lengthened. And as you can see, even in 10 years' time, it's still not sure whether the virus is cured or not. What if even if the citizen doesn't play an important role, of course the time will be lengthened even way more. Maybe even 2 decades and over. Oh, I think Hussein. Ayat. Apa dia
Okay,
yang
that is all from us today. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for lending your ears to us for a while to present our solutions. And we hope you have a great day.
Like nigga, move